What's good? It's Wood. I just want to have a little fun here as we prepare for the next album release of Freddie Gibbs as he's about to drop Sold Separately at the end of this month, September 30th. So in preparation for that album release, I just want to rank the Freddie Gibbs albums, and we'll say album-like mixtapes and even album-like EPs, basically the 13 projects that I kind of consider to be album-like for Freddie Gibbs. So what I am including, for instance, is that Fetti, that's the one where he collabed in 2018 with Alchemist, the super prolific producer, along with MC Curren. So Fetti will be included, but like Pronto, the 3-song EP from 2015, that won't be included. The Tonite Show from 2014 with the producer, the world's Freshest, will be included, but the straight slamming mixtape series early in Freddie Gibbs' career won't be included. So the mixtapes I am including, like Cold Day in Hell, BFK, Straight Killa, No Filla, those are mixtapes, but they use original production. So I am including those here. So let's get right into ranking the 13, or as I see to be the 13 album-like projects from Freddie Gibbs. Freddie Gibbs, by the way, if you don't know, he's an MC from Gary, Indiana, a pretty controversial rapper, very versatile rapper. I think that he's just a good combination of, rap cadence, showing a variance in rap cadence. He's got a good rap voice. He can speed it up, slow it down. He's got some good metaphors, punchlines. He can make a pretty smooth track or a very angry and aggressive track. He's got a little Pac in him, a little Bone Thugs and Harmony, a little South. He's from the Midwest. But yeah, Freddie Gibbs, I would say, is one of my favorite rappers of, we'll say, the past 10 to 12 years. I'll put it like that. But yeah, coming in dead last at number 13 is the album called Freddie from 2018. So this was kind of sandwiched between an EP called You Only Live Twice and that Fetti collaboration with Curren and Alchemist later on that year. But Freddie, it's a good album cover, but I thought that was kind of a one-note, sort of one-dimensional version of Freddie. And the one that's going to be ranked number 12 right after this one is also what I consider to be kind of a more limited version of Freddie Gibbs' arsenal. So Freddie Gibbs, I came into it being pretty excited because it was another Freddie Gibbs project, but once I got to track 3, track 4, I was thinking like, is he leaning a little bit too much into this, we'll call it the Migos trap style of beat where, it wasn't Metro Boomin production, but you could tell that it was kind of playing to some of the tropes of rap in 2018. And so I wasn't really feeling Freddie as much as some other Freddie Gibbs projects. And then in number 12, ESGN. It's interesting. This is like a compilation for his ESGN, record label. But this was basically just after his falling out with Young Jeezy, who he was signed to. He was signed to Corporate Thugs Entertainment like in 2010, 2011, 2012. ESGN came out 2013. And so this was actually just kind of a primer sort of to set you up and get you ready for the 2014 album Pinata, which was Freddie Gibbs' first collab with, the underground legendary producer Madlib. But ESGN, like Freddie, is a little too one-note, but, this was 5 years before Freddie, so I thought Freddie was leaning too much into like the drill style where, it's a very long project and he's got a bunch of features, both from people who are a part of his label and from other, rappers or just, different staples in the game like Daz Dillinger, Spice One. But I thought that he was leaning too much into the drill style of beat, and this is a very angry album. Like, he's pretty much going at Jeezy, going at the industry. So this is kind of him just sort of getting his aggression and anger out before that album with Madlib, which it contained much more versatility. So ESGN, I wasn't really feeling that one. I remember listening to it on a few runs, and I wanted to like it because I had liked his albums just prior to that. Like, this was right after BFK, Babyface Killa. So ESGN, I'm not going to say it was bad. I'm sure it had some good moments, but it just felt like once you had gotten to track 5 or track 6, you pretty much got the point. And it seemed like it was a lot more of that style. And, cadence wise, he was also kind of playing to some of the tropes of 2013, where, he does a lot of the which was like a popular cadence at the time, where it's like, so, I appreciate his attempt, and it wasn't like a failed attempt. It just wasn't a style that was the most flattering for him, and it didn't really showcase his abilities, in my opinion. So yeah, ESGN number 12, and then in number 11, that Fetti 2018 collaboration with Curren and Alchemist. So I'm a big fan of Curren, the rapper. Like, he's one of the most prolific rappers ever. Like, the amount of mixtapes, albums, EPs, collaborations that Curren has dropped, like, since, even before he was collaborating with Wiz Khalifa on that How Fly mixtape, which they've collaborated a few times since. But I love Curren's, music. I just, that whole mellow lifestyle rap style, I just really dig it. I like his beat selection. I like his flow, all of that, right? And I also obviously like Freddie Gibbs a lot as an artist as well. And I'm a big fan of The Alchemist. But this Fetti project didn't really feel like it was greater than the sum of its parts. Like, I would much rather just hear a Curren project or a Freddie Gibbs project or an Alchemist project with any one of those two rappers. Now, I've heard them together on songs before that I liked, like on, I think, Currency's Covert Coup project with The Alchemist. And I remember liking, the moments that they shared on the same track, Curren and Freddie Gibbs. But this collaborative project just kind of underwhelmed. It really wasn't what I thought that it could possibly be. It was well below the sum of its, pretty excellent parts, if you ask me. So yeah, Fetti at number 11. And then at number 10, we have The Tonite Show. That was Freddie Gibbs' collaboration with the producer known as the world's Freshest, or should I say DJ Fresh, since that's actually the DJ producer's name, is out of Oakland, California. And this ended up being a pretty good release from Freddie Gibbs and DJ Fresh, aka the world's Freshest. This was released in 2014, shortly after that first Freddie Gibbs and Madlib collab, Pinata. So yeah, The Tonite Show by Freddie Gibbs and DJ Fresh, the world's Freshest, comes in at number 10. Number 9, You Only Live Twice. Now, this was an EP right after he got out of basically being incarcerated overseas while he was on tour, touring that Shadow of a Doubt 2015 album. I think the tour was called Shadow of a Doubt. Freddie Gibbs was basically on top of his game, and he was on tour overseas, got caught up in a sexual case from which he's since been exonerated and released from. He wasn't convicted of anything, but he was held over there for a while. And there was a lot of question, like, what's going to happen with Freddie Gibbs? Like, this was a pretty traumatic experience, which he's interviewed about a lot extensively, just talking about what that experience was like. And when he was released and then he came back to the States, he released an EP called You Only Live Twice. This was kind of like a rebirth of Freddie Gibbs, since he didn't release anything in 2016 when he was going through those legal woes. And so this EP, it was like 8 songs long, but you could tell that he had a rejuvenated feel. Like, he just came onto the track one like a bat out of hell, and he would just seem like he was on a mission, not looking back. He was just ready to go. And so You Only Live Twice, it wasn't as good as some of his very best albums, but for an EP that he basically dropped kind of unexpectedly, again, following that incarceration overseas, this was a pretty good project. And here it comes in number 9. And again, You Only Live Twice came out in 2017. So number 8, Lord Giveth, Lord Taketh Away. This was an early Freddie Gibbs project from 2011 with the very good, I wouldn't say superstar, but it was a very good producer who's worked on a lot of good projects. Like, he worked on, well, his name is Statik Selektah, and he's like worked on Action Bronson's Well Done mixtape. But yeah, Statik Selektah, if you're into that style, that kind of, traditional hip hop, boom bap style, but, just for the modern, and when I say modern, I mean like the past 10, 15 years type of era. So yeah, Statik Selektah was really good at kind of updating that traditional hip hop sound. Lord Giveth, Lord Taketh Away was Freddie Gibbs' collaboration with Statik Selektah. And this was Freddie Gibbs just kind of on his boom bap, but he could switch up the cadence, again, he could go fast, he could go slow, and so he was just killing it. Verse after verse on this 2011 project, Lord Giveth, Lord Taketh away. So that came in for me at number 8. Now at number 7, we've got Alfredo. This is actually Freddie Gibbs' first and to this date only Grammy Award nomination. Alfredo was up for Best Rap Album. This is his collaboration with that super producer Alchemist. Very, very prolific. Worked on all sorts of projects for all sorts of rappers, the Alchemist. Just look at his catalog. It's pretty extensive. Well, they finally did a whole project together. You know, Alchemist had done a track here and there, and they, you know, Freddie Gibbs has rapped on Alchemist tracks in the past, but this is their first full project together. It was in 2020, you know, the COVID spring, summer. And again, it was just super renowned. This got probably more acclaim than any of Freddie Gibbs' other work, aside from maybe the follow-up to Pinata in terms of Freddie Gibbs' collaborations with Madlib called Bandana. Bandana and probably Alfredo are Freddie Gibbs' two most, we'll say, critically acclaimed and just industry renowned albums. But yeah, Alfredo, very good project, pretty versatile too. I mean, all Freddie Gibbs projects are pretty dark. Like, you know, he's usually rapping about some menacing subject matter or talking about girls or whatever, like in a Too Short style. I mean, Freddie Gibbs, he could get super vulgar, but he could also get super lyrical, and, you know, he's super articulate, and he could switch it up and go super gangster or kind of be a hybrid of varying styles. Again, one of the reasons I like Freddie Gibbs and his music so much is because of his versatility. You get a bit of that on Alfredo, and of course the Alchemist beats. I mean, Alchemist is just good at kind of having like not a super jazzy style, but he's got a kind of ominous, I'll say an ominous beat style, and you could hear that on songs like Baby, S-H-I-T, from Alfredo. So yeah, Alfredo comes in number 7 for me in terms of Freddie Gibbs projects. Now number 6, straight Killa, no Filla. Freddie Gibbs, believe it or not, he made the freshman cover, that XXL top 10 freshman cover. I think it was the same year that Nipsey Hussle, rest in peace, made it. Same year that I think Wiz Khalifa was on the cover. I think J. Cole might have been on the cover that same year. Big Sean might have been on that same cover. There were some real hitters. Look at I think it was either 2010 or 2011. I think it was 2010 though. But yeah, Freddie Gibbs was on that XXL cover, and I was reading like what they had said about him, and I'm like, I gotta check this MC out. And so the first album that I ran into was Straight Killa, No Filla. And this, you know, he's got all sorts of different styles of beats, and it became abundantly clear that he could handle choruses in a number of ways. With his deep kind of baritone voice, he could somewhat sing on some hooks. He could just rap through a hook. He could give you a lot of different looks on the hooks. And Straight Killa, No Filla was, if I was to give you a starting point to get into Freddie Gibbs, if you want to start near the beginning of his career, again, this is 2010, pretty early in Freddie Gibbs's, you know, when he was basically working up the ranks, so to speak, and starting to build a bigger name in the game. Straight Killa, No Filla was around the time that he first, like, basically moved to LA. So yeah, check out Straight Killa, No Filla. It's a pretty long project. It is a mixtape again, but it's original material, original production, and again, Freddie Gibbs is just getting off verse over verse. This is kind of close to the style that he showed in that Lord Giveth, Lord Taketh away collaboration with Statik Selektah. But yeah, go give Straight Killa, No Filla a listen. I got it at number 6, and then at number 5, BFK. That's his Gangsta Grillz project with DJ Drama from 2012. So this is between the Cold Day in Hell mixtape and that ESGN post Young Jeezy signing mixtape. So, you know, they had a little beef for a while, like where Freddie Gibbs was really dissing, you know, Young Jeezy in interviews, on tracks on ESGN in 2013. And then he had a couple diss tracks on Pinata in 2014. But BFK, he wasn't really dissing Jeezy yet, but he was kind of in the process, I think, of breaking from CTE, Corporate Thugs Entertainment, the Jeezy label. By the way, go check out his freestyle on the Cosmic Kev show. It's him and Young Jeezy. They're basically side by side, both of them on their own microphones, and they're kind of trading back and forth, you know, verse to verse. And like Freddie Gibbs just shut it down. Google Freddie Gibbs freestyle, Cosmic Kev, Young Jeezy, something like that, and you'll see what I'm talking about. But this was around that time. BFK, just listen to the opening track. It's called BFK, and it's the one with the East Side about it. That's about it. And it's just ominous. Like the way that the beat comes in, it almost sounds like a Bone Thugs and Harmony hook. And there's another song later on this mixtape called Kush Cloud. And I think that's the one that features Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs and Harmony. So yeah, Freddie Gibbs on BFK, he just, mixes up that fast flow, which he does that so well. And it's pretty riveting when he gets into it because he mixes it up with the deep voice and like the kind of aggressive tone. And he just sounds like he's about to wreak havoc. And listen to that opening song again on BFK. But again, this was his Gangsta Grillz collab with DJ Drama. And that I have from 2012 is my number 5 Freddie Gibbs project. And then number 4, I've got Bandana with Madlib. This is their second project together. This one got a lot of pub. They promoted this one really well. Like the marketing behind this one was really good. And the marketing behind this upcoming album that Freddie Gibbs is about to drop called Sold Separately, they're marketing that one pretty well. So yeah, Bandana, Freddie Gibbs' career pretty much hit a new level. He was being interviewed on all the major publications and all the major shows and stuff. And in fact, him and Madlib were kind of interviewed together, as this project was rolling out. So Bandana, very good project. I have it at number 4. Again, Madlib has a very I would say it's more off kilter than a lot of the other producers we've been talking about. Like there's always been something unorthodox, a little bit abstract, just very different about Madlib. And he's been doing that since the 90s. Listen to his Quasimodo project, which is Madlib rapping in a voice modulator that makes it sound like he's been sucking helium. That's his Quasimodo alter ego. Listen to Madlib's beats on the Loot Pack album. That's him, DJ Rome's, and his brother Wildchild. And of course, listen to Madlib's production on the iconic Mad Villain collaboration with MF Doom. And Madlib was producing as far back as like the 90s, mid 90s when he was producing, with the Alcoholics. They're all from the Valley. Like Madlib's from Oxnard, California. The Alcoholics, the Licks, they're from the Valley as well. But yeah, Madlib, there's always been something that was just off kilter about his beats, and that's what made him so legendary. Like it used to be something where there was like a mystique behind Madlib, and he's not the most visible cat. Like people, like he rarely shows his face, rarely does interviews, and this, had gone on since like back in the day. Like you could obviously see him if you went to a Madlib show or a show that he was involved in, but he's always been super in the cut, just kind of, reclusive. But yeah, this Bandana project, it just showcases that, dexterity in beat making for Madlib, and the combination between that and Freddie Gibbs' versatile emceeing. Yeah, it gets pretty damn good. So Bandana comes in number 4 for me. Number 3, I've got Shadow of a Doubt. This was, again, it seemed like with, Cold Day in Hell, Babyface Killa, even ESGN and Pinata, he was kind of building, and then finally he hits with this album. Because up until this point, a lot of the stuff was mixtapes. ESGN is actually listed like on Wikipedia as his first album. But by the time he released that in 2013, I'm like, what? Like this isn't. I looked at that as being a collaboration. I didn't even look at ESGN as being like an official Freddie Gibbs album. I thought it was like a label compilation. And not to mention like Babyface Killa, Cold Day in Hell, those might be mixtapes, but they're better than most rappers' albums, period. And they're even better than some of Freddie Gibbs' albums. But Shadow of a Doubt was marketed like an album, and it had like a lead single. And so it's another very dark album, dark project with, just mayhem, a lot of murder, a lot of like coke selling, and just like a lot of street talk, a lot of, kind of veiled threats. And, it's just that Freddie Gibbs persona in the music. Shadow of the Doubt is one of the first places I would point you to in terms of just like a very complete and excellent Freddie Gibbs project. And, it was shortly after this, again, when he was touring this Shadow of a Doubt album, that he got caught up overseas and jailed out there, while he was going through his, court case and everything like that. Again, he was not guilty. He wasn't convicted of anything, but it definitely stalled his career out for a minute. And there was a lot of concern on whether he would even be able to resume his rap career. So right before that was that Shadow of a Doubt album. That's one of Freddie Gibbs' absolute best projects in my my opinion, and I have that here at number 3. Again, Shadow of a Doubt came out in 2015. Number 2, I've got Cold Day in Hell. This is when he was on Corporate Thugs Entertainment. It was in 2011. He was signed with Young Jeezy, and this was after Straight Killa No Filla, but before that Gangsta Grillz, DJ Drama collab, BFK, Babyface Killa. Cold Day in Hell. You might not love all the beats because they sound a little bit more industry or basically like if you like Young Jeezy's beats, you'll probably like a lot of what you get on Cold Day in Hell. Now, there is a track 2 on this project produced by Big Crit actually called Rob Me. And I kind of look at that as being maybe my favorite Freddie Gibbs song. Period. It certainly might be my favorite Freddie Gibbs verse. Listen to the first verse of Rob Me, produced by Big Crit, track 2 off of Cold Day in Hell, and tell me the hair on the back of your neck doesn't stand up. Like, it just puts you on edge. There's such an urgency, it's just so intense. And again, the speed that he's doing it, like, I used to just like have fun spitting the speed of that verse, just like rapping that verse. Just listen to his verse because he's got Alley Boy doing verse 2 on that song. But listen to the opening verse on Rob Me and listen to that Cold Day in Hell project. Very good. Again, that's when he was on good terms with Young Jeezy. I have that at number 2. And then number 1 is Pinata from 2014. This is that collaboration with Madlib, their first collaboration. Again, Bandana is their second, and this pretty much was just clicking on all cylinders. It kind of took Freddie from rapping either on the traditionally like hip-hop style, modern hip-hop style beats, like the project with Statik Selektah, or, the Jeezy style beats on, Cold Day in Hell, or the drill sounding beats on ESGN. This gave him that underground hip-hop, but very unorthodox beat-making style where you could tell Madlib was having fun and Freddie Gibbs was having fun. Like, he has a song about restaurants and eating chicken wings on this Pinata project. The project was supposed to be called Cocaine Pinata, but it was later just shortened to Pinata. This is, I believe, Freddie Gibbs's best project to date. Like, it is greater than the sum of its parts. Like, Freddie Gibbs is really good, Madlib is really good, but they make magic on this Pinata album. Yes, it does include a Young Jeezy diss, but it includes, thematically, it seems like it's a little bit more varied. Yes, Freddie Gibbs is still on his, drug stuff. He's still on his violence stuff. He's still on his, kind of talk greasy to women stuff. Like, he's still Freddie Gibbs, no less. But he's experimenting with more cadences, more styles, and you pretty much get a fuller array of what Freddie Gibbs as a rapper brings to the table. But yeah, let me know if you agree with this list. It's crazy. Like, I remember when he was just a few projects in, and now he's got a pretty damn extensive catalog, and he's got a lot more hits than misses when it comes to these projects. So again, number 1, Pinata. Number 2, Cold Day in Hell. Number 3, Shadow of a Doubt. Number 4, Bandana. Number 5, BFK. Number 6, Straight Killa No Filla. Number 7, Alfredo. Number 8, Lord Giveth, Lord Taketh Away. Number 9, You Only Live Twice. Number 10, The Tonite Show. Number 11, Fetti. Number 12, ESGN. And number 13, Freddie. Let me know what you think about Freddie Gibbs. And yeah, I can't wait for this Sold Separately album. I have high expectations, but Freddie Gibbs and his track record have given me a reason to be optimistic. But yeah, let me know what you think about the list. What is your favorite Freddie Gibbs project? Or better yet, give me your top 3 Freddie Gibbs projects in the comments. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you love hip hop like I do. I'm Woog. Thanks for tuning in.